Revelations and Reveals, y'all. Episode number 5. We still in the meeting with Ruth, family, and Nola. Nola is being coy, and him and Ruth still doing all the things. But he is playing Ruth. He having his fun, and got plans to go back to Lebo. Like, he wasn't sleeping with Ruth. And he's lying. Sleeping with Ruth, saying one thing to her, and lying to Aiden and Lebo and everybody else, because we see a sit down with Aiden, Nola, and Lindelle. And Nola tries to ask them have they been having intimacy with their partner, right? So as I was saying, the guys got together, Aiden, Lindelle, and Nola. Nola's trying to pump them for information and get them to admit to some intimate acts with the person they're paired with. Even though we all know that he's been intimate with Ruth. And he's like being coy, dancing all around it, beating around the bush. But Aiden and Lindelle see right through it. And they just let him live in his delusion that he thinks that he pulled the wool over their eyes about what he's doing. They was like he's definitely been kissing and doing things, but they don't know exactly what. And also, I like that Lindelle called him out, because basically you keeping the bed warm with Ruth right now, but really you got plans on going back to Lebo. Lebo, you got plans on going back to her. You don't want to be with Ruth. You having fun with Ruth right now. And the sad thing is, Ruth is all in. I feel like, and she feeling like she getting really what she wants in him. And she's giving to me that she's got no plans on going back to Isaac. And speaking of him, we see him meet up with Lebo. Lobe. And talks to her, because now you wishing that you would have said yes to her proposal for y'all to do the experiment together. But you told her no, because you thought Kanye was the better choice because of looks. And she ain't ish. You hungry? She's selfish. So he sits up there and he tells Lobe how selfish Kanye is and stuff like that. I said, look at you backtrack. What James Caldwell say? Backpedaling and pussy popping. You're gonna make your way over there to that lady. No, go ahead back over there with your person that you chose. Bye. But Lobe she doesn't do that. She hears him out or whatever. And he's saying he knows his experience would be different if he were with her. And I'm guessing he got in his mind that she, it could be something outside of this experience. But I don't know if I mentioned it, but like, what I do love about this season of the Ultimatum thus far, the activities they've been doing. They went to the roller skating rink, even though they had the inline roller skates instead of quad skates. They went roller skating. They've done like photo shoots and had different rooms with different backgrounds. They've done painting together, like painting pottery and stuff like that. On this episode, we see was that good? Yeah, it was. Caesar and Kateko, they go ziplining. And that looked so fun. It looked fun, but I'm scared of heights. My mom ziplined before in Myrtle Beach. My mom and my aunts. And I stood on the ground holding their stuff. I was not getting up there. I was scared. But they are doing so many fun activities on this show. So many fun activities. On the other seasons, we've only seen people come together to be in an intimate environment where they get to size each other's exes up in what they deem their competition. That's the only thing we see them in. We don't see them like doing fun stuff together, like how they doing them here. But speaking of sizing up people, so it's now at the point where the guys are having guys' night, the girls are having girls' night. And I was correct in my previous review. Kanya does not see it for Caesar. She feels threatened by Caesar because she knows that's the type of woman Kateka will go for. And she wants him for herself. Because obviously he must have some kind of money. He must have something for her to keep staying with him. And she's like, again, still looking her nose down on everybody and stuff. And being shady towards Caesar. Because when they sitting there talking, and they talking about, certain people are saying that they met the other person's family or somebody like that. And so that's when Caesar says that she met Kateka's mother. And the first thing Kanya says, well, how so? Isn't she still in Saudi Arabia? And she was like, yeah, but we met on a Zoom call. Oh, Zoom. That means you didn't meet her. You just talked to her, chat. You had a chat via video. Like, girl, relax. You don't want that man. Let somebody else that wants him have him. Because you showing that you really don't, you're not feeling him like that. Let him go. They also had a couples yoga class. And it was this part where they wanted to build intimacy and trust. And so, like, one person would bend over this way while, like, you back to back with each other with your arms interlocked. And one bends over like this and holds the other one up on their back. And they said it's a testament of strength and being the foundation for somebody. And we see Courtney and Genesis have dinner. And they only got like a week left in this experiment. And he's saying like he wished they would have had the yoga thing earlier because he felt like that whole experience did bring them closer. And now they're actually in a place where they opening up and really dating. He has been trying, but she's been holding back. And now she's finally opening up a little bit. And I was like, dang. And he was like, I wish you would have did this earlier. So let's continue to watch and see what's going to go on. But that damn Kanye, she is definitely threatened by Caesar. And, like, girl, you don't want him. And they all called her out on her being selfish and self-centered. She just think it's all supposed to be all about her at all times. At all times. So, both groups, men and women, are both having a conversation. Have you guys had sex? Immediately, Kanye sits up in pounce position. She is the epitome of a mean girl. She proceeds to try to convince Caesar that if Kadeko is being intimate with her and kissing on her and having sex with her, he's only using her because she hasn't had sex with him in almost a year. So when Caesar tries to ask her, well, why? What's keeping you from being intimate with him? Kanye basically tries to shut her down and say, oh, you're going to cry and all this stuff like that. And we see Tabby is sitting back looking at Kanye, and she was like, she is really rude. Kanye is really rude. She's not liking Kanye's attitude tonight. She was like, that's low, what you're doing. You're basically telling this lady that she's a slut and everything. Like, Tabby is calling Kanye out in her confessional. Kanye is in the confessional saying all kinds of mean things. Still trying to put Caesar down and everything. At one point, Tabby does bring up the fact that she is hard for her because she's smiling and she looks happy with Lindy like she is, but it's hard getting up in the mornings, going to the gym to work out, and seeing Genesis there and not really talking to him and doing anything with him. Like, it's hard to hear the giggles and the laugh. And she was telling Caesar that we see you no, not Genesis. Lindele. Well, yeah, Tabby was with Genesis. So she's saying it's hard. But what's really hard and makes her feel disrespected is the fact that Lindele, who she's with right now, is getting up in the mornings or anytime he hears Caesar and Kadeko outside his window or their window and stuff, laughing and giggling. Like, she feel like he's like Lindele, they getting along good for a minute, but the moment he can hear that Caesar is getting along good with Kadeko, he disregards her and wants to keep an eye on what those two people are doing. And that's starting to bother her and, irritate her in this process. So then the guys are talking and all of them just sitting there looking at Nola. And all of them can tell that Nola is lying about how far him and Ruth have gone. He's continuing to lie. And they all looking at him like, you basically full of shit. So we see Nola in a confessional. He says, I know these guys. It's like they looking at me like they can see right through me and my lies. Because we know you're lying. Like, y'all been doing it. Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Okay? So Genesis looks at Kadeko and they kind of have a conversation, a sidebar conversation. And Isaac and Kadeko. And Isaac looks and was like, listen, I just want to know, do you believe Kanye to be a gold digger? And Kadeko says, I'll tell you this, she'll never be happily married to somebody without any money. And they shake hands. He said, don't leave me hanging. And they kind of shake hands, bump fists on the fact that they both see her for who she is. And Isaac is like, she is not meant to be a wife. She will not make any man a good wife, and she won't. She is all about her own self. So meanwhile, Nola tells Isaac, or pulls, the dinner is coming to a close. And Nola pulls Isaac to the side and has a conversation with him. And Isaac just asks him straight up, are you doing more than what you're telling me y'all did? And, of course, Nola lies to his face. And he's like, I feel so bad for lying to his face. So bad. And Isaac seems to be okay with Nola's responses or whatever. And I guess he's believing the lies that Nola is telling him, that they didn't do anything. Then we see, go back to the women. At one point, we see Courtney get up and leave. She just ups and leaves in the midst of them all talking. Basically, Kanye pouncing on Caesar. So then, next thing you know, we see that, I forget if it was Tabby or Labo say, Lobe says, that Kanye is basically a mean girl and she didn't set up in her chair ready to pounce. And of course she's talking bad, basically calling, she even said it in the confessional. She called Kateko and Caesar some sluts in the confessional. She didn't say it to her face, but all the other words that she said around it implied that's what she thinks. So, at some point, they question Ruth about how far they've gone, and Ruth is still like nothing. A little kiss here, some cuddles, and stuff like that, but nothing too much. Somebody mentions that the guy has random. It was Kanye about Isaac. She was like, he ran me a bath and put roses and stuff in it. He's basically saying how romantic he is, but he's taking a shower while she was in the bath, so they've seen each other naked, but they have not done anything with each other. And Ruth was just like, or whatever, but Ruth does end up telling Lowback that they should have a conversation and to themselves, but because she said, I respect you too much and I'm not going to say everything I want to say in front of the whole group. I'd rather just talk to you. So the other ladies leave, and her and Lobe go off to have a conversation. And she says, Nola and I have not just had sex once or twice. And Lobe gets up. She's like, thank you for telling me. But you can see she's devastated. And basically the episode ends with that, and we'll be back with episode 6, 7, and 8. I'm gonna put all of them together. So I'll just record as I'm watching them, say what I gotta say on here, so that I don't leave anything out, and come back to y'all in a bit. The shit has hit the fan. Episode 6 picks up with Labo marching herself to confront Nola about lying to her and breaking their trust. She says she's been respecting their relationship and not doing anything with Aiden, basically making her and Aiden a friendship couple. To respect Nola and to give him the chance to see that where he should be is with her. And so she goes to the place that Nola and Ruth are sharing, and she confronts Nola like, you lied. And he's like, what do you mean? And she said, you've been having sex with her. She said, you not once, but not twice. But you've been, like, they've been going at it. I would say they probably had sex the second day that they was coupled up together and been having sex every day thereafter. That's what I believe. And, of course, he trying to lie his way out of it and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, you know what? Won't you just tell her you love her and you're in love with her? Like, she hurt. So she's saying all the stuff that just don't make no lick of sense, just because we all know, just because a man have sex with somebody does not mean he wants to marry them and want to be with them. It just means he had a scratch and he got it. I mean, he had an itch and he got it scratched. That's all it means. When she's confronting him, though, Ruth pops up out of the bathroom, and again, he's steady denying that they actually did sleep together. And he's still denying it, and she's like, whatever, and she walks off. She goes back to the place that her and Aiden are sharing, and Nola takes it upon himself, like, I'm going to chase her down. So he goes to the apartment, and like, let me speak to you. And Aiden's just looking like, what's going on? Aiden is the peacemaker in all of this, because he's watching it go down and he giving them their space to deal. So they outside, they yelling at each other and stuff like that, going back and forth. At this point, Caesar and Kateko hears it and hears something going on outside. So they go to their balcony to listen. And after a minute, they're like, you know what? This is getting too personal. We need to give them their space. And so they go back inside and decide to, do whatever else they're going to do and not listening on this personal moment, which I can very much respect. So at this point, Aiden is like, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. Like, at this point, you're both just yelling at each other. You're not getting anywhere. You're going in circles. Won't you go give her some space to breathe tonight and you come back to it in the morning? At this point, he marches off and decides he's going to go back to where him and Ruth are staying, and he's going to go and call Isaac and he like, damn, Ruth, you snitched me out. I'm going to call and tell on you. So as he marches back to their apartment to call Isaac and snitch on Ruth, for some reason, Labo follows him back there. And she is in her confessional saying, this is classic Nola. He cannot basically take accountability for the choices he made and him getting it, this stuff blowing up in his face. So what he gonna do? He gonna call Isaac and throw Ruth under the bus. And that's exactly what he did. He called Isaac and told him. And Ruth was just looking like, and then next thing you know, she looking crazy. Isaac comes out, he confronts and everything like that. And basically make Ruth feel like a piece of ish, like she been used as a piece of meat and everything. And Ruth has finally seen Nola for who he really is, how much of a liar and a manipulator he is. So they march off, Nola, Isaac, and Labo. They leave the place. Aiden stays there with Ruth and is trying to comfort Ruth, hugging her and everything, and telling her don't feel bad. She just bust out crying because I guess she's coming to the realization about how much of a liar Nola was and how manipulative he was in this whole thing. Nola and Isaac get into it. They get to where it started to come to blows, and then the security had to come and show up. I'm like, oh God, Nola is a manipulator and a liar, a big ass liar. I forgot to say, in the midst of her being hurt, Ruth has decided to pull a Bernadine from Waiting to Exhale and throw all Nola's stuff out of the place that they sharing together and telling them not to come back there. And she also don't want to be with Isaac anymore at this moment either, because she says she's looking at it like Isaac want to act innocent and how he's been treating her. Like he confronted her about the fact that she didn't write him a note or call him or do anything for his birthday. Meanwhile, Labo, who was hoping that he was going to want to couple up with her, had already started putting plans in motion to celebrate his birthday. And that's the kind of woman he wants. And Ruth does not give him those type of things. Meanwhile, Caesar is telling Kateko about how Kanye made her feel at girls' night, and that she can't believe that he would be in a relationship with someone who's mean like that. She basically let him know. She said that was easy. She said that you were using me. And instead of him comforting her and telling her like she's lying, he said, come on, let's go talk to her now. Let's go. And you can tell her what you just said to me. He takes her and he walk up on Kanye sitting on the patio. And Caesar takes a seat and he said, okay, now you two, you can talk. And he leaves her there. And Kanye's like, did I invite y'all over here? What do you need to tell me? What do you need to say to me? Like, I didn't ask you to come in here and say anything to me. Another thing I forgot to mention, Kanye act like she's so much better than everybody else. But while she was sitting in girls' night with that lace sitting up on her forehead like that, very noticeable. But you better than everybody else, right? Oh, okay. Really, Kanye? There you said it. Get your fat bum. You come and sit down with your fat bum. Get your fat ass out of here. You so ratchet, you so hood. That's what she just said to Cesar. Cesar is she is so soft-spoken and so sweet. Too sweet for this process of what she's dealing with at the hands of Kanye and Kateko. At this point, I'm feeling like them two deserve each other. Because Kateko, why would you take her and immerse her in that? You know the type of person Kanye is. And she's going to say all the things to try to cut like a knife at Cesar's security. Or insecurity as she has. Why would you do that? And Kanye, you so loud and disrespectful. That's what you're telling this lady. The one who's steady speaking to you in a soft voice. Yet you're yelling, leave, and calling her fat. That's what it is. You saw her as competition from the jump. In your eyes, how dare he would never go for her. Because why would he want her when he got this? Right? Why would he want a bigger woman when he got me? I knew it. I was just waiting for it to come out.